The world, it is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. I'm looking out the window at Defiance. It's a beautiful sunny morning, although it was cold. It was 34 degrees when I went running this morning, and there was heavy frost on the ground. But it is supposed to be in the 60s today, and I think the 70s tomorrow. So before we get back to normal October weather. The devotion for today is entitled If We Take Sides, written by Matt Laney. Matt bases the devotion upon Isaiah chapter 52, verse 7. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace. And then Matt writes, I write the story shortly after Hamas launched their deadliest attack on Israel, and the IDF responded with airstrikes. Now thousands are dead on both sides. Over 150 Israeli civilians of all ages are hostages. At least 1,000 Palestinian children are dead. The suffering is unimaginable. I'm an outsider to this conflict, but it seems to me that until shared suffering inspires an understanding of the other's pain and trauma, instead of driving more violence toward each other, peace will seem like a pipe dream. Thich Nhat Hanh, who has stood between two warring factions, said, to reconcile conflicting parties, we must have the ability to understand the suffering of both sides. If we take sides, it is impossible to do the work of reconciliation, and humans want to take sides. That is why the situation gets worse and worse. Are there people who are still available to both sides? They need not do much. They need only one thing. Go to one side and tell all about the suffering endured by the other side, and go to the other side and tell all about the suffering endured by this side. This is our chance for peace. In recent decades, small groups of Israelis and Palestinians found a way to peaceful reconciliation through shared tears. From what I understand, it takes a deep, resolute commitment to listening with compassion and without reacting. Multiplying such experiences might be the surest way to break the cycle of violence and build lasting peace in the region. And not only there, until we all hear the suffering of the other, how can we hope to hear peace proclaimed from the Holy Land to our own backyards? And Matt's prayer. Holy One, help me to listen more than I desire to be heard. For me, this devotion brings up so many different emotions. And of course, one of which is that until we have compassion for someone else's suffering, there will be no peace. And that's the most difficult part. I think sometimes we know the suffering that someone is going through and choose to ignore it or to belittle it or to set it aside and just react in anger. What's going on in the Middle East, I mean, what Hamas did was inconceivable and not right in any stretch of the imagination. But the compassion side of me understands the frustration that built to the point where they felt they had to do something so horrific. And on the other hand, what Israel is doing in Gaza, they're claiming that they're not targeting civilians, and yet civilians are dying by the thousands. And of course, they're blaming Hamas for hiding among the civilian population. So Israel has no choice but to bomb civilians. It still goes back to not understanding or feeling with compassion the suffering that the other is going through. More violence and trauma just perpetuates more violence and trauma. There has to be another way. And I think Thich Nhat Hanh has a good approach in understanding that to reconcile conflicting parties, we must have the ability to understand the suffering of both sides. And if we take sides, it's impossible to do the work of reconciliation. And humans want to take sides. That is why the situation gets worse and worse. And that's so true with the Hamas-Israeli issue, that people are taking sides, and that closes the door to reconciliation and finding a peaceful resolution to what's happening. It's hard, it's complicated, and I keep telling people that there is no easy answer other than the desire to want peace and prosperity for everyone, not just for one group over another. So, kind of a heavy one today. Maybe you get something else out of it than what I thought, but that's the way devotions are. Hope you have a good day. Hope you can enjoy some of this warm, dry weather we're having. Hope the farmers can spend a couple days getting some of their crops in before the rain returns. Hope to talk to you soon.